Hey everybody, it's Evan back at you with another tip on a Tuesday. And today I want to real briefly go over the equipment view and kind of how to modify some of the information that gets displayed there. How you can pull in fields, change the field names kind of dynamically, as well as go over maybe a couple of these tabs, as well as how you modify this information up here. So to do that, you'll first want to right click and you can edit current layout. This is for system administrators only, so if you're unable to. So this is really, I guess, more directed towards sysadmins within IndySoft. But yes, you'll go ahead, click there, and then this will go ahead and pop up what looks sort of like just a Word document, but it's got all the fields that you see kind of over here. This is where you can modify it all. So what I like to do when we're bringing in maybe some just custom fields, I like to give myself just another table. Everything on here is kind of cell and not cell, but row and columns, and they're treated, I guess, like Excel cells. So you can see here, this cell runs to about here. You'll see right before the department, there is a little border right there that breaks the two. So what I like to do to add some more is I'll just copy what I have up here. And then if I go all the way over to the end there where that cursor is and press enter, and I can just now paste it in. I can delete all this information in here now real quickly. And then over here we have all the fields for, I wouldn't say all the fields, but you have a lot of the fields for equipment. You have company fields, the calibration schedule, and then down at the bottom you have the vendor fields. But namely, I hang out kind of here in the equipment fields, so a lot of times I'll be pulling in custom fields for some of our customers. So this is where you pull in custom text 1. I can go ahead and bring in custom text 2. What I'll also show you is down here we have equipment status is all. As you can see over here to the left, right now all we have for under there is active, but it's saying equipment status is all. So in a second I'll go over kind of how you can display the other ones that you have. I will also just insert a new row below here. I'll show you another way to add columns. Oops, that was insert row above. I want to insert row below. It'll give you this nice little dialog. You can increase the row count how many ever you'd like. I just wanted to do one. To remove a row, you just put the cursor with inside the row you want deleted, and then click this button here, delete rows. So what I'll do also here while I'm in here is bring over these statuses. So status 1, I'll bring in status 2 as well. We'll go ahead and save, and then we can put in a little comment. We'll go ahead and reload all settings, and you will see those fields now pop up. So we can see status 1 is yes, status 2 is no. Right now you can still see the checkbox, it's only active up there. But if we wanted to change status 1 and status 2 to a different name, where we would do that is back on the home layout, we'll go under options, preferences, by company, custom caption 1. So we can go status 1 and status 2. We'll press OK. We'll go back to our equipment view, and then you can see status 1 and status 2 changed here, and all of a sudden these now, the two checkboxes over here, became active. So back on that equipment layout, you can see again the equipment status all. This will bring in all of them if they have an alias assigned to them. Now the custom text 1 and 2 alias, as you can see, it still just says custom text 1 and 2. And to edit that, we'll go back into preferences. We will go back into preferences by company, and then we're going to go to custom tab all the way at the end here. And we'll go to custom text and we'll say test 1 and test 2. I know those aren't the best names, but thinking them up on the fly here. Equipment view, so now you can see test 1 and test 2, they became visible, or their aliases have changed. You can see there's already some text in here. We can go ahead and put in whatever we like. say test. We can't edit that. Remove it. We can add some text over here. Text 1. It'll validate it. We'll say yes. We want to update that list. So yeah, that is where you will modify the custom text aliases. Now there's also some other fields in here we can bring in. Lab, custom 1, 2, there's 8 of them. So I'll bring in lab text. I will save this and show you where you can modify those. Put in a quick note, go back to home, go to preferences, and this time we're going to go to system wide. We'll go to user-defined labels, and then we'll go over to lab tab labels. This is where you modify all the lab custom text fields or status box. There's user-defined labels. This is where you would add that all. Now let's talk about over here the statuses. We can also talk about the flowchart and these options here while we're at it. So to modify, my statuses are always pinned over here, and we can simply unpin it by going to edit docking panels. And when we do that, that little pin pops up, so we can uncheck that, and then we can see we have just the 3 different tabs here. And we can just hover over them to bring them out one by one, or if you want, instead you can have your options pinned, and then if we uncheck the edit docking panels, this will now stay here, and that little pin has disappeared, so it will always sort of stay here. Now to modify this information, we're going to right click and we're going to actually edit current layout side. And give this a second to open up. And it's going to be very similar to just the main equipment layout. You're just going to have fields over here that you can go ahead and enter in, and they will display. One other thing that I forgot to mention that I wanted to a little bit earlier ago, you can see how the text has changed or is different color here depending on whether it's the actual name of the field or the alias and the actual value given. So way we can handle that is down here, styles and notes, you can see we have these formats, styles. We have a field name, so we'll go ahead and give that to the field names. And then for the actual field data, we have this style. So we apply that by simply highlighting the text we want and then clicking on it. And this is a great way to kind of save time and make everything look really uniform. So we can do that. And as you can see, it's now matching the style of the other ones. We can add styles by simply going up here, adding a style, add a custom style, and then we can go ahead and kind of edit what font we want. We can go ahead and make it if it's a hyperlink. We can base it on other fields. So yeah, you can make your own style here, which is pretty cool. We'll just say, real quick, Arial, we'll say it's 12, and we'll just call it style 1. So now that becomes available, and we can use that to apply to any of the fields that we want. So we can do that real quick. If we don't like it, we can change it back to the way it was. So that's pretty cool. Then also wanted to go over where you would modify this little flow chart, which I have covered in another Tip Tuesday, but real quick I can show you. And then the statuses. I want to pin that back. I want to unpin this. Oops, I don't want to do that. I want to unpin options and just leave statuses there. Now statuses, that is changed in actually the flowchart editor. So to get there, we're going to go over to the options here, layout builder, which is already running. Flowcharts, and then double click on standard or whatever flowchart you're using. And then we'll want to drag this out and then tracking statuses. So right now you can see we have a few already on here, so we can remove them. Say we don't want to see this vendor information or the department. What we can do is back here under tracking statuses, the checked in status, which is what that equipment is in right now. We'll go ahead and double click, and then we'll just remove the text that's to the left of the label type. So let's say we want to get rid of vendor as well. So we'll backspace, clear that out, press OK. We'll do a little reload of all settings. We'll go back to the equipment view, and as you can see, those have now been removed. There's nothing under schedule down here because there's nothing down here under scheduling. So yeah, that's a quick, brief overview of the equipment layout. There's a lot to it. It can get very customizable. You can create different ones for different companies, so it displays differently based on the company you're in. So much like these custom text fields, we modify those under company information or company preferences. So if we were to change company right now and say we went to a different company, and just went to any sort of asset here, you can see the custom text, it has changed. It just says custom text 2 and 1, and that's because under the company preferences for that particular company, there was no alias for the custom text fields. But now if we quickly go back, do this one here, you can see that has come back. So that, real quickly, I'll touch on that. That's why you want to have a default company set. So as right now, I don't have a default company, but if I did mark a particular company default company and I had all those statuses filled out, or not statuses, but custom text aliases, when you create a new company, it will pull all that information in. So a default company, whenever a new company is created, it will take all the default information and automatically apply it to that new company. So all those aliases would be pre-filled in if you haven't filled out for the default company. All right, so again, yep, that's a quick overview, brief overview of the equipment layout. I know that was a lot, but yeah, feel free to shoot in an email into support@indysoft.com if you have any other questions, and myself or another support technician will be happy to answer any questions you may have. In the meantime, happy calibrating.